March 17th. The questioner who missed the point. Luke chapter 13, verses 22 to 30. Jesus went on his way through towns and villages, teaching and journeying towards Jerusalem. And someone said to him, "Lord, will those who are saved be few?" And he said to them, "Strive to enter through the narrow door. For many, I tell you, will seek to enter and will not be able. When once the master of the house has risen and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and to knock and to say, 'Lord, open to us,' then he will answer you, 'I do not know where you come from.' And then you will begin to say, 'We ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets.' But he will say, 'I tell you, I do not know where you come from. Depart from me, all you workers of evil.' In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when you see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, but you yourselves cast out. And people will come from east and west, from north and south, and recline at the table in the kingdom of God. And behold, some are last who will be first, and some are first who will be last." Have you ever had a tour of a historic site? Perhaps the Tower of London, or the Gettysburg battlefield, or Westminster Abbey, only for your guide to be interrupted by the words, "I have a question." For some of us, that moment quite often makes us cringe inside. The questioner may well be a know-all who is embarrassing, or a know-nothing who embarrasses themselves. There is nothing new under the sun. Questioning voices were regularly heard in the crowd that gathered around Jesus on the road to Jerusalem. Here comes another. "Lord, will those who are saved be few?" Verse 23. Jesus never answered questions without answering questioners. We usually find out what he thought of the questioner by the way he responded to the question. This is a case in point. People love to discuss theology. Paradoxically, it even happens when you have a conversation about atheism with an atheist. If you are a religious professional, it can get a bit wearing when you tell people what you do, only to have them give you their expert monologue on religion. Or be asked their self-assured problem questions, not dissimilar to this one. "Okay, Jesus, so are there only going to be a few people saved at the end of the day?" Jesus' Jewish contemporaries, by and large, thought that at least most Jews would be saved. They were, after all, God's chosen people. But what did Jesus think? Look at the first way Jesus answers the question. He doesn't. He answers the question by saying three things for the whole crowd to hear. First, that is not the question you should be asking, verse 24. What you should be asking is, am I going to be saved? So make sure you come to me and get through the door that leads into the kingdom of God. Second, make sure you strive to enter now while you still have the opportunity, verse 25. One day it'll be too late. The door will be shut. Third, don't confuse having seen me and listened to me with coming to me. Verse 26. Jesus had already taught in the Sermon on the Mount that belonging to him is not merely having contact with him or even doing miracles in his name. It is being known by him. Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 to 23. So the question is not, did you know about me and were you in my presence? It is, did you trust me and enter my kingdom? The question you should be asking, says Jesus, is not how many will be saved, but am I saved? But then Jesus added, people will come from the east and the west, and from north and south, and recline at table in the kingdom of God. Chapter 13, verse 29. Yes, many will be saved. See the vision in Revelation 7, verse 9. After this I looked, and behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb." But what good will it do you to know this if you are not saved? When I was 14, on one cold Sunday night in January, I was walking home from church and slid on the ice. As I caught my balance, a man wearing a dark coat appeared beside me. I saw him glancing down at the Bible in my hands. He looked up and stunned me with a question. "Are you saved, son? Are you saved?" How could he have known that that was what I wanted to be sure of more than anything in the world? But did the man who asked Jesus the question want to be saved? Do you? Today's reflection. We should never be more interested in theological questions than we are in knowing Jesus himself. How should that shape the conversations you have with other Christians, or the way you approach the Bible? This devotional series is being produced with the kind permission of the Good Book Company. A link to the book To Seek and to Save by Sinclair Ferguson can be found in the description below.